President Carter is a skilled fly fisherman and fly tyer, known for his extensive angling library. He's an admired conservation proponent and was responsible for the passage of the Alaska National Interest Lands Conservation Act in 1980, which protects more than 150 million acres of wild lands and scenic rivers. He and his wife Rosalind have fished throughout the world, and the Carter Presidential Library devoted an exhibit to the sport. President Carter became a Nobel laureate in 2002 for his decades of untiring effort to find peaceful solutions to international conflicts, to advance democracy and human rights, and to promote economic and social development. President George H.W. Bush spent many of his fishing hours in Maine and the Florida Keys. His concern for environmental issues is reflected in the revisions to the Clean Air Act in 1990 and the Global Change Research Act of 1990. President Bush restored 3 million acres of wetlands and protected 17.8 million acres of public lands during his presidency. President Bush enjoyed the distinction of having the most national marine sanctuaries, 6, designated during any presidential administration. He received the Keep America Fishing Award for his key role in passing amendments to the Sport Fishing Restoration Act. He said of fly fishing, "There is something more sporting, more competitive, more difficult, more challenging about using a fly rod." The George and Barbara Bush Foundation works to educate our citizenry and inspire the leaders of tomorrow for lives devoted to serving their country and their fellow citizens.
Some of the most vivid memories of my childhood is going fishing with my father, who was also an excellent fisherman. And so I became deeply interested in fishing in water and streams. Being on a trout stream, which is always lovely, the water's always pure, that's still some of the most awe-inspiring experiences I ever had.
Jimmy was a farmer, and so, he knew the basis of and the appeal of a really clean environment. It was not just about the fish, but it was also about everything that was going on around you. I think Jimmy Carter was absolutely built to be a fly fisherman. The Bush family especially had been an environmentalist family. They had the place in Maine, they were in Florida on Boca Grande, and so they had a relationship with fishing and clean water and with the appeal of the outdoors. Well, I think the thing about fly fishing and people who are very busy and engaged in things, it requires enormous concentration, and it's humbling. And so it kind of reminds you can be the president of the most powerful nation in the world, but unless you can land that fly, 4 inches off the nose of a trout feeding, you're not going to succeed. It requires ultimate concentration, and I think for busy people making big decisions, it helps form, if you will, a kind of consciousness about how to do the right thing.